Hey, thanks for stopping by the channel. As always, make sure you're subscribed. Check out the bell icon. Make sure you're getting notifications. So, got to tell a little bit of an interesting story. Friday afternoon, I received a text from a man named Randy Furst. He appears to be a reporter for the Minneapolis Star Tribune. I think I'm getting that right. But anyway, Randy had reached out to me because he saw that I was supporting Lisa Hanson from the Interchange in Albert Lea. And he said he wanted, and I called him and said, hey, what's going on? What can I do for you? And he said, hey, I'm just interested in finding out about your organization. First of all, it's not an organization. I want to make sure it's just a channel where I do commentary and vent. All right? I do commentary and I express my opinions. And I just chose the Minnesota Black Robe Regiment name because I admire and respect the men who helped inspire Americans to resist tyranny back during the Revolutionary War. So anyway, that aside, talked with Mr. Furst a little bit and said, sure, I'll give you a call when I get a chance to get away from work, and let's have a conversation. So as it turns out, Mr. Furst had observed one of my videos where I talked about Lisa, and I was pretty vociferous about people who support Lisa, allegedly, and are, say things like, oh, we're with you, and they stand there and they pat her shoulder, but they haven't done much by way of actually representing her, by going to bat for her. And here's the thing. I appreciate the fact that Mr. Furst wanted to reach out, that he does appear to want to actually do a should we say a positive news story about Lisa and about people who support her. That's not something we get from the media, especially print media these days. Print journalism is a dying, it's a dying industry. And I think a lot of times it's because journalistic integrity is lacking. So I decided I was going to converse with Mr. Furst. And I said, I'm going to trust you. I did a little bit of quick research. I looked you up a little bit, read some of your stuff. I'm going to trust that you're going to be accurate and that you're going to report me and the things that I say in a way that doesn't spin me in a negative light just because that's what you want to be able to do. And I flat out told him, because he asked, somebody had reported that in a particular situation, they believe that they saw that I had posted pictures of a local city attorney with people with firearms surrounding her now, or something to that effect. Look, I want to make it clear, ladies and gentlemen, I am a huge proponent of the Second Amendment. I'm a huge proponent of going to Second Amendment rallies. I'm a huge proponent of people carrying firearms. Now, this is going to sound strange. Right now in the state of Minnesota, to be legal to carry a firearm, you need to be permitted. Now, that it's just the way that we have to do things right now, okay? But what I do not get behind is the idea of showing up to a protest, not a rally against lockdowns, not a protest about lockdowns, but showing up to a protest about an individual with a massive amount of firearms. That sends a message of intimidation that I don't think that we need to be sending. I don't think we need to do that. And I communicated that to Mr. Furst. I wanted Randy, it's the problem with doing these quick takes outside. I wanted Randy to understand that I believe in protests. I believe in rallies. I believe that every American who's passionate about something, when they see that thing that they're passionate about being tread upon by government servants, by elected servants, I believe they have an obligation to go out and protest and peaceably assemble. I'm not a radical. Sure, people don't like my opinions. Sure, people don't care for a lot of the stuff that I say, but that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether or not you care for what I say. It doesn't matter whether or not you agree with me. That's the whole point of the First Amendment. That's the whole point of a protest. That's the whole point of speaking your mind on an issue that people don't agree on. It's a matter of public concern. It's a matter of public interest. And we have that constitutionally enshrined right to speak on those things. But we do not have a right to be threatening in our behavior. And I wanted Mr. Furst to understand that. And I also relayed to him that I'm not a radical in that I don't deny that the COOF. I don't deny that COOF is real. COOF is real. I deny the impact that it's had. I don't believe it's as deadly as they would like us to believe. I don't believe it's as dangerous as they would like us to believe. I brought this up to Mr. Furst in the course of the conversation. People talk about the long-term effects of COVID, of the COOF on people. We don't know what the prognosis will be down the road for someone who's been infected. Are they going to have lung issues for the rest of their life? Are they going to have other complications that arose from the COOF for the rest of their life? We don't know. We really do not know what those long-term effects are. But here's something else that we don't know. We don't know what the long-term effects of unconstitutional mandates and unconstitutional lockdowns are. What we do know for a fact is right now small businesses are being destroyed. They're being destroyed by governmental overreach. And people like Lisa are experiencing prosecutorial persecution. And for what? A year ago, Lisa wasn't a criminal. Lisa Monet, Lisa Hanson, Larvina McFarquhar, Jane Moss, Bruce from the Poorhouse, and on and on and on and on and on. These people weren't criminals a year ago. And the only thing that's made them criminals now is a misapplication of the governor's thoughts on whether or not he should be able to issue lockdowns. You guys got to see this. This is nope, never mind. I won't show you because he's going to hide from us now. One of our local squirrels. But anyway, and I communicated that to Mr. Furst. We had a great conversation. And he said, well, what about the claims that the Interchange is responsible for causing an outbreak of the COOF in Albert Lea and Freeborn County? And I said, show me one. Show me one. Maybe there's one out there. I would love for somebody to show me that. We can have that conversation. Show me one, right? Please, somebody show me one if that's real. But here's something else. What about the cases of people who've contracted the COOF from Walmart when it's jam-packed? Or maybe at the mall in Rochester right around Christmas when it was jam-packed? Or what about the claim that Menards can house up to 7,000 people with 6 feet of social distancing? Now, we're never going to get 7,000 people in a single Menards at a time, but that's not the point. The point is the lack of equanimity in enforcement of COOF regulations. That's what's missing. There's not an equal application of this. And that's what I wanted Mr. Furst to understand. Now, there again, we had a great conversation. I believe he's genuinely wanting to report this story. But here's something else that happened in the conversation, and I want this to be out there. I want it to be very clear. Mr. Furst felt it necessary to ask me what kind of work I do, where I work. I didn't tell him, and I'm not going to tell him. Look, people, if you know me, you know where I work. If you know me, you know what I do. And there's nothing I can do about that. Even if you're a mild acquaintance, maybe you're somebody who just absolutely despises me, and you know where I work. Where I work doesn't matter. What I do doesn't matter. It has no bearing on my thoughts, my opinions. And my thoughts and opinions have no bearing on the work that I do. And the media and others need to stop prying into these things and saying, where do you live? Where do you work? What do you do? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I am a private citizen. And if somebody wants to hunt me down and find out where I work, then, more power to them. But it doesn't change my opinions. It doesn't change my constitutionally enshrined rights to speak on the things that I want to speak on that are of public interest. And when people do that, when they try to identify where you work, when they try to identify what you do, they're only going to use that as a way to either discredit you or give you some sort of extra credence. And it's a form of a logical fallacy that's referred to as appeal to authority, really. But it's also a weapon that can be used against you. And it's something that we just have to stop. Who cares? Can I not have an opinion just because of where I work? Should I not express my opinion just because of where I work? So, Mr. Furst, if you see this, I trust that you're going to give me a fair shake, that you're not going to paint me out to be a radical. Because I can promise my viewers, and I can promise anybody who's watching this to catch me saying something I shouldn't say. I didn't say anything wrong to Mr. Furst, no matter how he prints that article, if he prints it. And maybe because I didn't say anything radical and I didn't say anything just off the wall crazy, maybe he won't share my thoughts. Maybe he won't share what I had to say. I don't know. But I can tell you that we have to stop being afraid to talk to people, because there might be consequences if people find out. Thanks for paying attention, and once again, make sure you're subscribed, hit the bell icon, make sure you're getting notifications. And until next time, Sic Semper Tyrannis.